everyone! Today I'm going to be doing a short little storytime video because you guys have been really interested in seeing one for a while now. And I wanted to try something new because why not? So today I'm going to be talking about my first time being traced back in 6th grade and my experiences with it. One thing to keep in mind here, when I was in 6th grade I absolutely sucked at art. Right now I'm in 8th grade and I'd say I'm relatively alright, somewhat mediocre I guess. But at the time I was extremely new to the concept and that's what makes this whole situation hilarious because I wasn't even good. I was so resentful until I realized how stupid I was being 1 year, 2 years later. Anyway, at the time, I was friends with this girl. We weren't best friends or anything. I knew her from another person and we kind of talked now and then, but we weren't really that close. We were kind of forced together because of a mutual friend, if that makes sense. I liked this mutual friend and there was a high chance that this girl would be around her when I talked to her, so I kind of had to interact with her sometimes. I found her exceedingly annoying. She was one of those people who unnecessarily made everything super dramatic and always tried to be the center of attention. She also copied me a lot before this, in small but noticeable ways. Looking back on it now, the things that she did weren't really that big of a deal, and I'm kind of annoyed with my past self for being so mad about all of it. But essentially, she did a lot of things exactly like me. She tried to imitate my voice. When I started wearing cat ears to school, she decided to do the same. When I picked up new hobbies, she immediately wanted to do them as well. Small, dumb stuff like that. Anyways, 6th grade was around the time where I first started getting really into art, and of course, as soon as she saw me learning, she instantly wanted to do the same. She'd follow me around a lot, always watch me when I was drawing, and try to look at little doodles I made now and then. I didn't really think much of it at first until she found my social media. I was really into a small website called Scratch at the time, which I still do today. My closest friends knew about it, but most people actually didn't, as I like to hide my digital persona from people I know in real life. It just makes me a little bit uncomfortable, and once people know that I'm a furry or that I have an audience built up of mainly children, I could be the target of negative attention because of this, and I don't want them coming in and messing with the stuff I've already built up. I also try not to use my digital achievements as advantages in my daily life, since I don't want people to be friends with me because they know I have a lot of followers on Scratch or I'm somewhat okay at video games or I have a small little fan base. I'd rather they built relationships on my real self and not my digital presence, if that makes any sense. But anyway, apparently this girl found out about my social media and she was stalking it a lot. I didn't know this at the time and ignorance was bliss until she accidentally brought it up in a conversation. I forgot exactly what we were talking about, but she mentioned my Scratch profile. I was kind of put off about how specific she was. She mentioned a post that I'd made that week, and it made me start to question how much she was actually looking into it. Afterwards, she just got proceedingly more clingy and hovery, and she had her own Scratch account, but never actually liked or commented on any of my posts. Yeah, she mentioned that she knew of their existence. It was really confusing for me, but again, I really didn't think of much of it at first. One day we were drawing in gym. Honestly, I don't remember why. I think that they had one day where we could essentially do whatever we wanted, and me and a few friends decided to sit in the corner and doodle for a little bit. This girl sits next to me and I noticed that she keeps glancing at my paper. Afterwards, I see her showing her friends the heavy reference to drawing she made of one of my sketches, and me, being the calm, chill, intellectual I was absolutely infuriated by this. I didn't actually bring it up to her, and for some reason I didn't even tell any of my friends. I just seethed inside. And again, this reaction was so stupid, considering she just referenced a little doodle and it wasn't like she sold it or anything. I shouldn't have gotten so annoyed, but I was just upset that she took something I made and started bragging about it. I was a jealous person at the time, and I hated seeing other people getting attention. So you're probably thinking, Qwizz, you said traced in the title, and yeah, you know what that means. It gets worse. I decided to look at her Scratch profile because I was just extremely curious, annoyed, and confused. And lo and behold, apparently she had started posting stuff of her own. I checked out a few of her projects and I was immediately found something traced off of one of the frames in my animations. It was just so obvious. I even went through the effort to overlay the image and make sure, and yeah, it was 100% traced. The next day, I didn't say anything, and the next. And the next. If you didn't know this about me already, I'm really good at hyping up confrontations, but absolutely terrible at executing them. I have this irrational fear of people hating me. I don't want anybody to hate me, even when it's impossible to avoid. Even when I'm on the right side of the argument, I really, really want to make sure that nobody hates me. I just absolutely hate the thought that someone's thinking about me negatively, that someone is angry at me and I can't fix it. So as time went by, I just never mentioned it. Finally, several months later, I talked to her about it. I sent her the overlays, I explained very clearly how I felt, and I confronted her at last. She just made a half-assed apology and took the traced stuff down, pretty much exactly what you'd expect her to do. We pretty much never talked after that. She probably was scared I would bring it up, and I was scared she'd bring it up and I'd have to go through the traumatic confrontation again. If I could go back in time, I wish I could have done a lot of things differently. I wish I didn't let the problems torture me for months instead of just talking to her when I found out. I wish I could let go instead of holding a grudge for that long, since people grow and change, and it was just wrong of me to bring that up months after she'd moved on from it. I wish I didn't make such a big deal about it when I finally talked to her. It wasn't like I was famous or something at the time, and my art was terrible to begin with. It's better that she traced me rather than some stranger on the internet. I was just really stupid when I was younger, and this was among the many things I handled in the dumbest way possible. I was a pretty toxic person at the time, and I thought I owned everything and didn't like it when people did something the slightest way similar to me. I'd like to think that I've kind of mellowed out and changed from this perspective over time though. Maybe a year confined to my old house did a little bit to change that perspective. Anyway, I'm gonna end up the video here since that's essentially the whole story. That was a little short, and I'm sorry about that. There's just not much else for me to say, and I didn't really want to pick a really long topic for my first story time thing. If it is your first time here and you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always unsubscribe if you don't enjoy my future content, so there's absolutely no reason not to. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.